So can you hear? And do you listen? So can you hear? And do you listen?
I just be wanting to know, people. I just be wanting to know if y'all hear and do you listen? You know what I'm saying? Happy Saturday to you all. Welcome back to another round. I'm just here to do a little quick live on some of the stuff that was discussed between me and El Cid last night. Of course, I got some comments that came in, and I want to address a few of those or whatnot. But yeah, let's just kind of get into it. I got my girl in the back, El Cid. Y'all know what to do. Y'all been here long enough. And since this is our second round, we gonna get into some things for real, for real. Now let me bring El Cid up, okay? Clearly last night, El Cid, we were serving down watered down drinks. They was not happy with the 80 proof, the 90 proof we were serving them. They was watered down. They said we put too much ice up on it. We put too much chase up in it. We put too much mixer up in it. But that's, whatever the case may be, when we poured up drinks for Alexis, they just wasn't strong enough for some of the people. And I'm confusion because I feel like we spent a good 20, 30 minutes just talking about Alexis alone. Not for the first time. Not for the first time. But obviously, I need to reintroduce myself, okay? My name is Hove, J to the AI. Because clearly y'all do not be knowing who I is and what I do around here, okay? I'm gonna take a page out of Mary from 10's book real quick and let y'all know. And y'all come over here. I may not say a lot of things correctly. I might not articulate things the best way of they know I know how. But I'm gonna say what I got to say. I'm gonna speak my speech and I'm gonna stand on mine. If I didn't give you enough smoke that you wanted me to give Alexis, you came to the wrong barbecue, baby. Okay. You came to the wrong barbecue. I don't like to be having my house smoked out and all that stuff like that. You go down the street to those people's house over there that just wants to give her all the smoke. But over here, we like to give constructive criticism, meaning we may tear you down, but we also gonna have comedic ways to build you back up. Okay. Me and El Cid particularly are here with a whole bunch of life experience from light to dark arts. All right. So that means if you drink light, we serve that. If you drink dark, we serve that too. And if you like Long Island iced teas, baby, we got them. All right. So you can get a little bit of everything. And that's what we do over here. I love my people that be here with us and they know what we do over here. We kiki. We have a good time. We talk our ish. You know what I'm saying? And we just give you what we see from our perspective. I don't know what they wanted me to say to Alexis. I don't know. They must have wanted me to match her energy, be ready to go outside with her, meet her on the court, throw blows with her, cuss her out like my name is LaRon or something. Like I'm supposed to call her all kind of bees or whatever. Like, I don't know what y'all want from me. But down drinks is not what I serve over here. Okay. If y'all feeling some type of way about Alexis, go on her page. Tell her directly. Don't tell me to tell her. I'm not her PR. I'm not her publicist. I'm not her mama. I'm not her daddy. I'm not about to put her over my lap and give her a spanking. Yeah, that's a grown woman. She may or may not listen to what the hell I got to say over here any damn way. So half of my messages ain't even for them people on their cast. But I'm going to assume that something I said or something that Elle said while you felt like we was giving her excuses and that we had grace for another human being was being wrong. I'm assuming that y'all have these same conditions that she suffers from. And I say that because old girl didn't take no accountability last night in half of the stuff that she was involved in. And she blew up, and we talked about all that. And we talked about ways of not sitting on that stage and letting somebody get the best of you. Now, I don't know. Maybe my words be lost in translation. El Cid, help me out. I don't know what I missed.
Okay. I'm not sure what the people want. Not sure, you know. If we roasted her too hard, then we would be giving Laurent excuses. Y'all have blamed me several times for giving different cast members excuses. If we went on her too much, we would not have addressed that Mika said something, that Justin said something. But you can't please all the people all the time. And you see, it's the eclipse. My Aries fever is here. I ain't got to please nobody. I'm sorry. I ain't got to please. I am hopeful that you are pleased. And if you're not, then, Laura said it best. Kick rocks with open toe shoes. But Jay is very gracious that she even reads the comments. I don't go back. I don't even know what was said. I don't. I stand on what I said with Alexis. She, she came in hot like the hot comb that was used in her hair. She came in hot. So maybe they wanted to hear that kind of resonance, that kind of a verbiage and language. She came in hot. And if you see my natural hair, I know the hot comb for years as a kid. And when that thing burn your scalp, you be dancing, singing, and hope it don't singe all your hair off. So she came in, hot comb hot. That we didn't even recognize her. So I don't know how much more fire. I want to see the rest of it. I want to see the rest of the, reunion. But if she left like Zoe left those years ago, I'm sorry, girl. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because you look too good to be acting like this. My girl, you look too good. We didn't even recognize you. We didn't recognize you from your, outfit and hair. Now we don't even recognize the attitude. I mean, come on now. I wanted you to be the unbothered. But again, I'm going to stand on, I think somebody told LeBron that he called her and Will two parts of a snake. Somebody told her, and neither she nor Will were at that getaway. That's my hypothesis. I think somebody told her, and she came in hot for that.
And I'm pushing wrong buttons. I was trying to. I'm over here pushing alternate instead of trying to type this thing. Go ahead, finish.
No, I think somebody came and told her about the snake comment. Even if it's production, I just think that they just set it off to be hot, because unless we're missing something major, I don't know what there is for her to be that hot with Laurent. I don't know what it is.
And that's the thing, though, that we seen this with Alexis early in the season when they were in the women's lounge. And we have to recall when they were having that issue with Will in the first place, and Koshia brought up Alexis' name and how she popped off ready then. And we looked at it and we looked at Koshia for the blame really in that moment, because she was the one, I'll go outside, I'll do this, like, you know what I'm saying, like that. But there was few of us that actually watched the whole thing and really was just like, something's going on between both of these ladies. Because if one person is saying, yeah, I'll pop off, but the other person like, well, let's go outside then. And I told y'all then, sometimes y'all leave quiet people alone, because she was over there. She was being quiet a little bit of stuff, but sometimes quiet people be quiet for a reason. They be ready to pop off. Again, I'm not saying she was innocent or perfect in a lot of this thing. However, her name was brought into the conversation. She was sitting on ready once again, which was a bad combination to start. You come in this place sitting on ready with a bunch of people you don't even like and get along with. You don't have really no allies up in this place. You are a dog backed into a corner. And even if it's by your own fruition, it's never going to be a good outcome when you have made this many enemies in such a small space. So that was her first mistake anyway, is having this many enemies in such a small space. And on top of it, you just don't know how to chill. You don't have, once you on go, you on go. So as soon as he said your name is you this, you that, this, and it's every time somebody try to comment you, you get hyper and hyper and hyper. And like I said, I wish Seaway was here, but I got Sean here because Sean seen an incident with me like this in Jamaica, where a person got an audience. So now that I got y'all attention, let me show out. That's what this moment was. And we both agreed yesterday, we wish he would have just kind of sat there. Then we also gave pushback on the other people around who was instigating the situation and was saying, like, had you not came over here and touched her, sometimes you can't touch a person while they're hot because you're going to get burned too. Sometimes you just got to stand in between people so they don't have that direct line of sight with certain people. Now, the whole thing with Mika in this particular moment, Mika was addressing somebody else and she just popped off because she don't already like Mika. So that was a little bit extra there. She went too far, because when I watched it back today, Mika was talking to somebody else. It's like, can y'all just remove her because she's not going to stop. And as soon as she said that, it was bitch. So, I can't. It's kind of like when we was talking about LaRon at one time. It's like, what more do y'all want me to say to LaRon? When a person is being a type of way, they're not going to listen. I'm not going to spend all my time trying to correct bad behavior of a person that's don't want to be corrected. I'd rather spend my time with people who see this stuff and be like, you know what? I'd rather be better than this. I'm talking from experiences that I have had by either watching people behave like this or being one of these people who have been pushed this far. But thankfully for me, I have the fear of God up in me that I didn't go too far. So I'm trying to do the best I can to prevent whoever wants to actually have that help out there, be that better person that they can be by my experiences already. I got people that have literally been locked up because they such a hothead. Now they're doing life for trumped up charges. You know what I'm saying? Because the first two was actually theirs, but the third, got hit by the third strike law. So now they doing life. But that's the fault, is you had a bad attitude to start in the beginning. Let me bring Sean up real quick. Hey, Sean.
Hey, what's going on?
Not as much. We over here just, discussing people's debates on whether we was hard enough on Alexis or not. And we just talking about the whole situation with Alexis as well. And I was, I know you probably heard a little bit in the back where we was talking about where we had that incident in Jamaica where somebody had an audience and it escalated because the audience was there.
Yeah, I missed, I came in late on you guys last night, so I missed, I guess, what people perceive to be too much grace. But I think, like, unfortunately, sometimes people they're gonna click on and watch a video and they want you to say what they want you to say. Or they get upset about something that they see and then they want you to see it the same way that they saw it. And it's not always the case. People have different perspectives, different points of view, and they bring their insight into it just like they do. So you can't just immediately be like, well, you didn't do this with this and this and this. Just listen to what the person has to say. And if you agree, great. If you don't, you know, two peas in a bucket, that's what we used to say back in the day.
Yep.
So I mean, I can definitely, one thing, and I know you and I talked about this a little bit earlier today, is sometimes, like, I'll put a little bit of empathy on, right? Because when Alexis was sitting on the other side after she had tussled back and forth with so many other people, and then you have all these people surrounding her, You know, now I'm not really a fighter, like I haven't had like big fights in adulthood, but I do know enough to know that when somebody is in combat mode and you got people grabbing their arms and there's like everybody is against them, they're gonna be like, back away from me. I don't care if it's your friend, I don't care if it's your mama, your daddy, back up away from me, because if something goes down and I get hit, you're holding my hand. You know, you're holding my hand, and that's not gonna work because I cannot defend myself, and you're gonna have me getting beat up. So I think there were too many people surrounding her. If one person wants to step in, you know, and just, you know, get on eye level with her, I think that's always the best thing to do, is like, don't be standing above somebody. Like Will was standing above her. Alonzo was standing on the other side grabbing her. Justin was right beside her getting upset. You know, you can't, too many people around somebody when they're hyper, they're not going to be able to calm down enough. And I remember in that instance with, you know, when you were upset, I didn't immediately go to you and tell you to calm down, right? Because I think that's the worst thing you could do, is when somebody is at 10, and if they haven't like made a physical action, you don't tell them to calm down. Sometimes you just need to listen, you know, so what's going on, you know? And then, you know, I went and I talked to Kojo, and then I was able to talk to him one-on-one while you know, you were working out what was going on in the background. You can't have too many people piling up and ganging up on one person when somebody is upset. You know, that's it's already a lot of energy. So that's my thoughts about around it.
You was gonna say something else?
What's going on with the ladies' lounge in Dallas? This is the second set of popping off we have had with the ladies of Dallas. I mean, I know everything is bigger in Texas, but come on. But there is a difference with how the ladies' lounge was handled. The first um, Texas one, they security ran in real quick. So is this a whole new security team? Are they not expecting that behavior? Who is it? Because when the other ladies' lounge happened, security came in quick. And I agree with you, Sean. When somebody is hot at a certain level, you can't how can you say, there's no level of pulling the lid off for it to just simmer down. There's no level. You got to let them burn out like a supernova and burn themselves out and come back at it. um I will say that that is something that has to be learned as a child too. You have to learn to self-soothe. And maybe because, Sean, you could agree or correct me on this, I blame it, as an only child, I got to self-soothe. There is nobody for me to bounce off my attitude or issue, or just there's no one for me to just vent some steam until, I get to go see my friends. So if I'm home, I gotta self-soothe and get myself together.
And I agree with Crazy Homebody Girl. This was a love and hip hop moment, but you have to remember we're dealing with people with real emotions, and that's why I had some grace for or I have some grace for Alexis, because at the same time she has real emotions, she has real feelings. I carry grace for LaRon. We sat on Kojo's channel and had a whole conversation with LaRon behind the whole calling women out their name incident or whatever. That was showing grace for LaRon. I'm sorry, I am a human at the end of the day, and I'm going to have grace for people a lot of times more than none, because I am still a person who is flawed and imperfect, and at times I'm going to need grace from people too. Great, we grow through grace. Let's be honest, we really grow through grace. And so if I don't give mature grace to the next generation by saying, not writing them off, but actually saying, you know what, you wasn't right in this moment. It wasn't the best moment for you. There's other ways you could have gotten through this. Me cussing a person out just repeats the cycle. Me telling a person that they ain't, and all this stuff like that, that just it perpetuates the whole thing of having this broken community. We sat here and last night talked about we want Black excellence, Black this and stuff. And I sat there at the end of that live and told y'all, we can't have Black excellence without people having proper discussions with one another. whether they be right or wrong or indifferent. But we have to be able to sit down and communicate with one another. So I'm not mad that you jumped in my comments and said the things that you said, because you actually sparked this discussion. But the fact that you want to sit here and just act like grace cannot be given to human beings for imperfect moments that have already passed. This is the funny thing. This is not in action already. This is have already passed. I don't know if she even learned. So we don't even know where she at in the present day time right now. She can give 2 F's about what we got going on, but this is for the next person that might be into this position later on. Like I say, I have done things that I'm not proud of when I look back on it, but I blacked out in the moment. And my rationale for blacking out was my life was on the line. I don't know what Alexis blacking out was for her in this moment. It could be alcohol abuse, like y'all like to say she was on something. It could be that. But I feel more it's something deeper than that, because all season long, she's been telling us, I'm not going to be nobody's doormat. I'm not going to be walked over. I won't start it, but I'll finish it. She's been telling us that she's not going to be picked on, bullied, or whatever. So that tells me that something has happened to her that makes her feel like she has to fight every time people come at her. That is a problem, and that needs to be healed within her. And it don't get healed if we don't address it.
I have a question, and not to throw a curveball in there, but I want to know. I don't know if you saw, and I know you watched it a couple of times, Jay, and I know El Cid watches it with a magnifying glass. But how did LaRon's shirt get all roughed up? Did you notice that? His shirt was all out of his, his collar was all tuffled and ruffled. What what happened? Did somebody grab him up by his collar? I'm trying to understand how that transpired. And the only thing we saw was the beginning of him fussing and tussling with Alexis, and then his collar got a little ruffled. Did Alexis get a hold of him? that's that's what I want to know.
Well, Sean, it's the same suit from his confessional. It's the same suit from the suit and tie. He just took the tie off. So I put it as that it was between scenes or something, because I know Vanessa turned to the side, but if somebody touched him or tried to grab him, I know security stood in front of him. Security kind of blocked him from her vision, but other than that, I think it's the same suit. He took off the tie, threw the tie to the side, and he looked a little ruffled. But he could have, I agree, he could have done it to himself to make it look like he's tough and big and bad and he can get into a scruffle or whatever. But I'll mention something else.
I was gonna say the same thing Ari said. He did it to himself, girl, because as soon as he got that called a dork, he got puffy. I ain't nobody dork. You call me no dork, man. I ain't no simp and I ain't no dork. Like, y'all, he be a little emo. He be a little emo, so it's no telling. He's probably tugging at that collar and all that stuff, so mad, burning and fuming, child. I don't know. It's either that or he smells some catfish cooking in the back and started getting ready. Gotta get that shirt loosened up so he can make some room. It's one of the two, baby. I don't know. Who knows with LaRon, child? All I know is Ma looked too damn good to be out there acting like she was on a basketball court and this was a scene from Love and Basketball. Okay, child. I said it last night too. I don't know how anybody's referee in anybody's sport with this type of attitude. This is way too over the top. You would need to be level-headed and rash out there on the court and stuff. You're supposed to be non-biased. You gotta learn to let a lot of things go or whatnot. You can't be so hot-tempered. You can't be Arenas out there on the court waiting for somebody to do anything, say anything to you so you could just pop off and foul them and get teched out. And you was teched out of this arena last night. You would let LaRon get you teched out. And then I know it didn't just start with LaRon. Mika started some stuff too. And y'all can agree to disagree, but Mika injected herself earlier in the segments when they were sitting with Will and talking to Will back and forth and having that back and forth. And then it went to her, Mika, and Kashia. So old girl was fighting for her life. Go ahead, Elle.
Maybe Alexis was fighting for her man, Will. Because, she didn't like he was called thirsty. So, maybe she's taken on, my great grandmother would say, don't take medicine for other people's illnesses. So maybe she's fighting his battle in that regard. Because, with the fake chain and all of that, he got to have at least a real girl. I mean, a real woman. Come on now.
Well, first of all, I don't know how she went from fighting for him to fighting him.
That's that toxic love, like Marion, who was she with, JoJo or Casey? I get it confused.
She was with Casey.
Yeah, that's like that kind of love. Then if they together, they went from fighting each other. They effing and fighting, effing and fighting, effing
You
and
know
fighting.
who? If that's what it is, they Stevie J and Jocelyn. That would be Stevie J and Jocelyn for real, Shy, because that's what they used to do. Jocelyn be sitting there fighting Mimi, then start fighting Stevie J, and then make out with them both. Like, what the hell? So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm curious to know what it is, though, that possessed her to go this far, because me and El said joke last night of how many ways that we would have got under LaRon's skin before he got under ours. And it's just sad that if this was Housewives of Potomac, she would be Monique and LaRon would have been Candace in the moment. However, she was cutting as deep as Candace cuts with LaRon, because I'm like, if Dork set him off, imagine all the other words that could have came out. And he's bothered by simple words as dork, simp. Like, child, there was a whole plethora of words that you could have used that would have had this man's shirt real wrinkled.
Clown, penguin.
Ooh, El Cid now. Give him grace.
Oh, you're gonna see what? What up, Seaway? Seaway.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
What's going on?
Everything and nothing at all.
What's your perspective on this Alexis drama?
Her anger. I'm sorry. My birthday party ran late, but what exactly are we talking about with it? Just her outburst or something specific?
Yeah, no, just her outburst as a whole, and then just people mad that we ain't going on her the way they wanted us to.
Well, I think we have gone in on her. At least I know most of us here have. Thank you, Journey. A lot of us have gone in on her. I think the problem is that there's so much that we don't know that led to that type of anger, I think, that she showed. And the problem is that we're only really getting bits and pieces from interviews and things like that. But for her to spaz the way she did in that type of anger, they have a lot, as Sean says, to them. Or maybe that's what I say, and he stole it. I can't remember who started that, but they got a lot going on. They got a lot going on. And so do I think that she went completely bananas and I'm sure she'll regret that later? I do. But, I just wonder what caused that type of outburst. And I know there's been a lot of people that have been highly criticized for their outbursts. Zadia, the girl from Married at First Sight. And I've kept the same stance throughout this whole entire thing. I'm not one of these people who just goes in and completely acts like I'm holier than thou every time someone has an outburst or has an anger management that we personally think that we're better than, you know? So, and I don't even like Alexis for real. She seems very agitating, I personally, but the way she spazzed and kind of lost control, I really want to know the backstory on that because she was very calm on the show. She's either one of those people who does a lot of stuff behind the scenes and then the reunion she couldn't be sneaky anymore, or she had been pushed to her limit. I don't know which one it is, but that was interesting. So
Yep.
Yeah, it's your statement, but we use it so often. It seems like it's mine, but it's yours. You are the originator of they got a lot to them. Yeah, I don't know when I kind of I hear what everybody's saying, but I seen Alexis. I wasn't surprised. Definitely was not surprised when I saw her acting like that. Now, to the extent maybe, but she was giving warning shots the whole time. When she was going toe to toe with Koshia, I knew she had it in her. Because people that usually talk like that, they have a propensity to show out. Now, whether they will back their words up with actions, that remains to be seen. But I still was not surprised by her behavior because she was going off. She was ready to take Koshia outside and do something with her. I don't know whether they was gonna keep talking or not, but she said, "I'll go outside." She was like, I'll finish you. She said, "Come with it." So at the end of the day, I really, really wasn't surprised by that. Jay has also brought it out, and I think it's a good point. She's an athlete. Athletes also, in the heat of the moment, they're playing ball. They can go tick, tick, boom in any seconds. You could see like somebody calm on the court, calm like Kobe, and he'll put somebody in a headlock. It's just your adrenaline is always going because you are, operating at an intense level. And she is an athletic person. And I think, what is she, referee now or referee basketball or something like that? So she's a former athlete. So I don't put it past her. I definitely saw the tick, tick, boom in her. I wish she would not have gone so ballistic to start cussing the cameras and throwing up her middle finger and pulling off her shoes and running out the door. I really wish she would have just came back, calmed down, and then explained herself. Because we even saw to I'm gonna mess her name up, Tequila or Tequila rather, from last season of Dallas. She had a moment like that on the last reunion too, but she eventually calmed herself down and she was able to talk, and we were able to glean a little bit of where her issues stemmed from. So I just hope maybe Alexis will calm down and not speed off, and get into her Uber and go back home and just come back for part two and we can hear what her issues were.
Is this the calming Alexis that Will was telling us about? Because he said that she was, the calm, soothing personality to him.
I think that
Yeah,
was just her being a pick me. That's all it was.
I think Will's a little unhinged too. And like I said, if they together and they got that, that effing and fighting kind of love, that's what it's gonna be like. So he's not gonna have a barometer to measure what calm looks like because he's used to the tussle and the rustle because he was calmly going back and forth with Mika. So that tells me he's he's not unaccustomed to having a little bit of battle. Now this reminded me of an ex I had years ago. And we used to fuss and tussle, but it was always behind the scenes. And when we were outside in public, we were a unified front. But when we was behind closed doors, we get to rustling and tussling, whether it was my car, we get to fussing and arguing. Somebody got to pull over the car and get out and walk for 5 minutes and calm down. But it was never tussling in front of other people. We would always defend each other to somebody else. So I don't understand. They probably need to kind of get on a better page and understand like either we together or we not, or just leave each other alone.
I did see with the clips that Kojo showed earlier where LaRon made the perception that she was just, sitting cozy and up next to him. Because with the Patrice and Alonso segment, when she was turning around to look at them in the face, whatever, her knees were next to him, you know, and she's looking at him like, I wasn't even sitting next to you. I think she was so far gone before her voice even raised. It was just alarming. I didn't think she was that supernova. I knew she could pop off at you, but I did not think that she would make Koshia look calm. I didn't at all think that of her.
Well, Alexa did the impossible. She made a whole bunch of unstable creatures look very stable last night. So I don't know. I mean, we have one or two or few almost every season. And unfortunately for the light skinned delegation, Sean and I, we have to take this. Well, I don't know if Sean gonna claim light skin right now.
Nope. I'm distancing myself. I'm brown skinned today.
You brown skin?
So everybody that says I'm not light skinned, I agree with you. You are right, I'm not.
Dasha hitting y'all with the y'all won. Y'all won.
We are the light skinned delegation, and it's just funny because somebody in my comments trying to hit us with the colorist indirectly. Well, hit me, I guess, with the colorist indirectly by naming women of past seasons of darker hue and stuff. And listen, there's been a lot of women that we've had on this platform and watched across these stages of all shades be out of control or whatnot. We've didn't just have the ladies that they wanted to mention in there be a problem. We've had, who is that? Not Sabrina, Charisse be somewhat of a problem before. We had Kadian be a problem. We've had other people be problems in other different ways, off camera as well, or whatnot, that have been of lighter hue. So to be labeled aggressive, and yes, Janelle, aggressive and an agitator or whatnot, this just don't go for darker skinned women a lot of times and stuff. And unfortunately, just because you're Black don't mean you can be omitted out of that category. Alexis was very aggressive in this moment. I mean, you're literally fighting your one closest ally. You're fighting cameramen and all of these things for what? For what? Because he said you was a snake. You let those words bother you that much that you sat here ready to take your shoes off, going backstage, flipping off the cameras, hitting the camera, all of this stuff. Like, I don't get it. And again, to that person who decided that they want to out me, especially when it came to Camille, you clearly don't watch Kojo's channel. I'm going to need you to go ahead. I'm going to implore you to go ahead and watch all of them old videos over there. If you want that, you will see me fighting for my life for Camille when I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of people were saying that she was very problematic. I was standing by a lot of some of the antics that she was doing because it was very entertaining to me. But I didn't see him as problematic as some other people were on that show. Exactly. Face making and all that stuff is not problematic to me. We did have a little voiceover incident, it was hard to defend her on that one, but but even we had Joy, who y'all got on me several occasions about Joy in there. She's definitely on the light skin side. So it's just like, we have stood through the fire, and I know me, Sean, and CUA personally have stood on 10 toes down on people against people's favorites So when y'all decide that y'all want to come for me because you have a favorite or you don't like somebody, that's the wrong move. I'm just going to tell you now, that is the wrong move. Don't come for me. Go to that person. You don't like that person. I don't know these people. I don't really care. I'm reporting on what I see, and I speak on behaviors. I'm not worried about what skin tone they are, how beautiful they look, or how this, that, and the third. All I'm worried about is the behavior that they show up that contradicts to what they want in life. They want a relationship, and some of these people's behavior that we seen all last night is not going to result in a very healthy relationship. Her attitude alone is not going to result in a very healthy relationship at the end of the day. And it proves why such a pretty girl, what seemingly has a lot going on for her, is still single. Because I ain't seeing too many men that's going to want to deal with it. Now, I know Sean and them be liking they little spicy sometime, but the way she was spicy, I don't know, that was full on ghost peppers. I don't know if anybody want those.
No, Alexis had that's too much. That's too unpredictable. And like I said, that fighting with me and we can fight behind closed doors. I don't mind, but you fighting me in public, telling me you sick of me and get away from me. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'll pass on that. That's too unhinged. I did have a little crush on Janelle though. I'm telling you, I have a problem with some of that meanness. I just like it when a woman's just a little mean. It just does something to me. It's toxic. It don't mean I'm gonna marry you. Well, was my ex-wife mean? All right, I'm gonna stop talking.
Next case. I don't know. Yeah, I just want to know. Not noted. Not African. She gonna show up a little mean, huh? They taking no shine. They gonna come at you a little mean. Don't
No,
be
no,
mad.
no, don't do that. I need the healed part of me needs calm, niceness, peacefulness, because the meanness, it doesn't do
Oh
good for me
shit.
anyway.
They
So
do.
no. I just had to think about it. I was like, oh, she was a little mean. She had a little mean streak. Yeah, exactly. I'll say choke and spank in private, 100%.
Now, would you ask that question in public?
That's a no.
You better whisper it. You better whisper it in her ear.
And listen, let's not recall. I don't know if you brought it up, El Cid, or somebody else brought it up. I think it was you up in Cultural Chat earlier. Let's recall. Alexis do not like being grabbed because we seen she had a problem when, what is his name? Jonathan did it. She had a problem then, and she held it together in that moment. So, imagine some people that is literally on LaRon's side that's like Alonzo. I think I really think if Will would have probably approached her first before Alonzo, it could have calmed down a lot sooner. I'm hoping that would be the case. She would be a little bit more rash, especially if he caught her before her and Justin got into it. Because I think by the time her and Justin got into it, it was done. But because like I said, the first person that was over there grabbing on her was Alonzo. I just ran through my head trying to figure out still who would have been the only rational person, maybe two people on there, which I say Laylin is not about this drama, so I just don't see her getting into it. But I think had she came by Alexis or whatever, maybe even told Justin, go ahead, get up, let me sit right here with her for a second and just be in her space, maybe that could have helped. But Laylin is not for the drama, so and I don't want to Laylin to do it in that beautiful dress, child, because if she got to point her fingers at that daggone dress, I'd have fought her. I'd have fought her for her like, hold up. That's a Met Gala dress. Don't be playing with Laylin. No, and maybe April. Maybe April. I'm trying to go down the cast of who. You got somebody?
I don't think anybody could have calmed her down at that moment. And one thing I noticed is none of the ladies came to help her. Not even Rashina, who I could see Rashina coming to her and saying, baby girl, come on now. Come on, behave yourself. None of the ladies, even Vanessa sitting next to Laurent, turned her shoulder, observing from the side. She was not in it. She was not involved. She was not going to help anyway. None of the ladies had anything to say to try and calm Alexis down. So that makes me think, how much popping off did she do in the ladies' lounge? How much popping off did she do on a regular that we just didn't see? Because at least, even if I don't like you in this setting, I would be like, hey, we looking too good for all this attitude.
Also, let's not forget to now, because I just remembered this part. So this is really a message to myself. In that whole back and forth in the ladies' lounge with Koshia, her reasoning was for Will and some of the other men approaching Koshia the way she was, as making it seem as Koshia was promiscuous or she was carrying herself as a loose woman in some type of way. She was above being tried, so to speak, and before Jonathan tried her. And I know a lot of people at that time was mad, like none of the ladies stepped in, helped her with Jonathan and all this stuff like that. Sometimes, unfortunately, we live in a world with a very unnice, unpleasant, very petty people in a negative regards. When you get to talking like you above some people, and then you end up in the same position that them people said they was trying to fight their way up out of, they gonna sit there and watch you fight because you didn't want to listen to them in that moment. Because she could have sat there and just listened, let Koshia said what she had to say and not address and say, well, it's probably because of the way you acting. And before y'all get to try to say I'm victim blaming anybody, I'm sorry, this is just how the world works. We do not live with very kind, perfect human beings. Some people like to watch their karma happen as it happens. And unfortunately, those words came back to bite her in the ass because sure enough, Jonathan tried her. Like she got to telling Koshia, the men know who to try. And then turn around, Jonathan tried you. So she's she burnt a lot of bridges with a lot of these women. And so again, I don't agree that nobody stepped in to help her, because yes, we need to be bigger than that. But sometimes you put your foot in the mouth so far in that people let you choke.
And production is letting her choke on this because just like they edited her, they could have left this out. Production is putting her out there. They let her be, considered, cool and collected most of the season. And now that she has had a supernova phoenix moment, they are airing it all out, all the way out. The fact that Will is dragging her, bear hugging her from behind and dragging her, and she's still flaying her arms, still saying who can get it, it was way past anything. Way past any point of calm or any point of rationale. She, the best thing was for her to leave, but the destruction on the way out is where I'm like, it's unhinged. She needed to go, or she needed to be, removed from the whole situation way before this, because this was way unhinged. I haven't seen anybody act like this except in other shows, but definitely not here.
Yeah, I think I saw this comment in the chat earlier too around just proper de-escalation tactics. Like, I think people don't understand how to de-escalate a heated situation. And for me, the one thing I've learned, and this is some of stuff through my work experience, just being a manager, having to deal with customers and all that kind of stuff in my past. So the one thing you don't want to be is standing over somebody when they're upset. You want to be eye to eye with the person. So unfortunately, she don't have good relationships with many of the women. So there weren't women that were going to really be able to sit next to her and do any of that. So if a man was coming, and Alonzo, he was trying to help, because even before he got up to come over there, I distinctly remember him telling LaRon, chill, chill, chill. So he was trying to tell LaRon to stop it, right? So if he was going to be the one to come over, it wouldn't be to grab her arm. It would be to either come and, like, whether Justin or whoever was to her, you know, the other side of her, say, hey, listen, let me come over. And then just talk to her. Hey, listen, baby girl, you know, I know you're upset. You know, maybe you want to come sit next to me, or, you know, you want to just chill out. You want to come in the back for a little bit, you know, or just kind of lean down, crouch down, like on his knees, and kind of like talk to her from that angle. So he's not over her and pulling her, because you don't want to do that to somebody that's agitated and they feel like they're attacked from all around. So I think that should have been the best thing that he could have done for her, or anybody that was going to come over there. Even if it's a friend, you have to get on their eye level and then let them know, I hear you, I see what you're saying. Just like some of y'all were getting accused of defending her. Nobody's going to hear you in an argument if you're yelling back at them. So word to the wise, if you're already angry at somebody and you're yelling back at them, I've been in enough arguments to know it doesn't go anywhere. It just escalates the argument. So if you really want to de-escalate it, you want the person to calm down and not flip out, you need to do things that are going to bring them back in. So I think, unfortunately, there was no one there to really do that for her and with her, because nobody had the skill set to be able to do it, not even security. And if I take what y'all said, LaRon was busy roughing himself up in the corner, so he probably needed more assistance than anybody else. So it's unfortunate. I just hate to see how it played out, because it does look ugly. It looks like this is a show for love, you know, but here we are. We're ready to claw each other's eyes out and go crazy and fight and tussle. The men are yelling with the women. You know, it's just too amped up.
See, where you got any thoughts, Mama?
I mean, Sean said it perfectly, honestly. I think she, and you did too, about how she kind of put herself in a corner where she doesn't have a lot of people that could be kind of her calm there. And I think that's kind of what she needs to look into, because we all get upset. But I think usually when we get upset, there's somebody around us that we poured into in some positive way that's trying to pour back into us, that's going to bring us back down kind of to normal, who would have been like, hey, I understand that you're upset, but this imagery is going to live forever on national TV. So let's kind of bring this down. And the fact that she didn't have anybody that was keeping her image in mind to try to help her where they could, that just shows a lot about what she's done. This whole, whatever she's done to these people, it clearly has been not good. And I think that's what she needs to look into. And I do think some of the men, like Alonzo, were trying, but at that point, she probably needed some women or somebody that she trusted to kind of calm her down. And she was looking around. She's like, I can't trust any of you guys to calm me down, because you guys are the ops. And they're the ops because she made them that, you know, and they made her that. So I think that's the part. She's done a lot of damage. And I wish she would have calmed down so we can know, you know, why everybody is so upset with her. But we won't know. I don't think she's coming back. There's no way.
Well, you know, if they gonna find her like they do Glenn, she may be back. I don't know. Maybe they'll talk a way to just have her be out there with limited cast or something. I don't know, but it's not looking like she planned on coming back. Last time we got Zoe walk off and he left. He got in his car and proceeded to leave. So, you know, there's been very few people that we've been able to rein back in when they have been at this level of pistivity. Generally, when we get people reined back in, it's just because they're like upset and crying or hurt by something that happened. But like being this pissed off, being this agitated, this irate, generally we don't get them to come back. And you know what, to be honest with you, is for the best. To be honest, unfortunately, in a perfect world, in a perfect scenario, we would want her to come back so she can work it out and find some resolve. But we will actually have to be asking the other side as well to be able to extend that grace to her to give that resolve. And that's not going to happen either, because the other side is just as petty. Like I said last night, LaRon is a spitting mirror of her. It's a male form of her. That's why that energy was being matched, because he didn't back down either in that whole argument. Yes, she blew up, but he kept going as well. And when they told him to be quiet, like Sean said, he didn't stop. They literally had to get security in between them. And the only time that LaRon actually did stop is when she started getting into it with Justin and everybody else. But as long as it was just him and her going back and forth, he didn't stop. And we've seen this.
And this is an example of why men should not be going toe to toe like that with women. Like, where did you think it was gonna end? Like, I don't know. I just feel like when men start matching energy like this, I mean, you kind of get these type of crazy explosions. Like, you're not even like, an example of not matching energy. And I don't really want to give this man a compliment, but I'll give him one. What is it, Lamar and April?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You see how Lamar was for once acting like I want to say like an honorable man, and I feel like that's a lot to give him. But in that moment, though, he really was. Like, you saw how April was being very kind of more catty with him, more nasty with him. He could have matched her energy. He could have did a LaRon. And I'm not saying she didn't have a reason to be upset, because I think she didn't like some of the stuff that she saw, whatever. But he did not match her energy. That's how a man is supposed to be. You don't go toe to toe with a woman. Like, it's just not cute. And if you're gonna go toe to toe, at least do it like Mika and Will, where they kept it at a like more like playing the dozens type of thing. Like, keep it like that. But when you're really like getting amped up, you don't want that. It's just not a good situation.
Or you can be like Lynn and Alonzo and just completely ignore, like they did Patrice when Patrice was trying. Sometimes you just gotta sit there and let the person have it. Like, you obviously need this moment. Go ahead, have your moment. And that's basically what Justin eventually did. Justin said what he said, and then he sat back when he seen it was going nowhere. I seen people going in Justin. Oh, he was saying stuff like, listen, I'm gonna say something too. You screaming in my ear. You sitting right next to me screaming in my ear. And then if I pull up one of the pictures, her finger is literally like this on his hand, that he has it like here. And he's just kind of like saying, stop. And her hand is way up in his space. Like, you're doing a lot right now. And I've stand on this every single time, every single season. I stood on this with Zadia. Y'all do not start going in people's face, especially men, unless you are prepared to fight like a man. And I'm not saying that Alexis clearly was not prepared, because obviously she started calling out the whole cast and production. But listen,
yeah,
you
she looked pretty prepared. She looked pretty prepared.
Any one of them dudes just superpower slam you. And then you're going to do the same thing, which everybody says at the end. You're going to run and start calling victim. That's another problem that Alexis does have. You initiate a lot of stuff, you instigate a lot of stuff, and then when it's not favorable for you at the end, now you're the victim. No, Ma, run it back. You got to see how much you played in this too. You could have been quiet at some point. After you got your dirt comment off and he got in his feelings, you could have just sat there and let it go. But you didn't. You had to keep going as well. Y'all was fighting for the last word, and that's what happened. His last word got you in your emotions, and now everybody is in your face. And now you acting like everybody is coming at you or whatever, because they're trying to figure out which of the two to calm down the first. And they got LaRon to stop. But you were still going. LaRon could have stopped sooner, whatever the case may go, but he stopped. Now you're still going with Justin. Now you're going with Mika. Now you're going with Will. Now you're going with production. And not just one of production. You done went with about 4 or 5 of them. So she got to do a lot of self-regulating. There's a lot of growth there that needs to be done. Like, you got to be able to stop yourself from going to your darkest spaces. Like it's not cute or becoming of a person with so much to lose. And I said that a lot. You got way more to lose in this particular instance than LaRon does. LaRon does not have a job that is depicted on his behavior outside in the public world. If you work with kids, you and Justin particularly cannot be on this stage fussing and fighting with one another, ready to go blows with each other, because then it's like, oh, these are the people that's watching my children. Oh, these are what you putting hands on each other. Would you put hands on my child? If I come up to school and talk to you about my child, you gonna be ready to fight me? Like, and but you know, I be feeling some of these kids be needing hands put on them, but that's a whole nother story for another day. We have to do a little members live for that one. But you know, I'm just saying, you know, if y'all don't want to do it, you got to let the community do it somehow. Somebody got to do it. God says, spare the rod and spoil the child. You know, I'm just gonna say it. And obviously, her rod has been spoiled because she thinks she could take everybody.
And yeah, I saw a comment earlier. It was much, much earlier, but it just stuck out to me. And it's just like people, I think we just have to do better in terms of if somebody has a different opinion to you, it don't always have to be something, mentioning that, oh, Alexis has gotten away with this because she is, elevated in Black culture. No, because she didn't have nary one person on her side on that whole reunion stage. And most of her beef was with the men, and the women got it by proxy. So if the men are elevating her, they sure wasn't doing it this season because most of the men didn't really like her, So they definitely wasn't looking past her character and being obsessed by her color or whatever you think her phenotype is. So I think we just sometimes have to put it down and stop wanting to pick up a mantle of something else when people have different opinions. So again, it's not like everybody was on Alexis's side. She barely had Will on her side. You know what I mean? So I just think we just got to leave it alone. And I think sometimes, on the other end of it for Alexis, when you are the common denominator and there are multiple people who have problems with you, doesn't mean it makes you a bad person. It just means maybe you need to look at what they're saying. Maybe there's some truth to what people are saying. And we internalize when people tell us something about ourselves and we get angry. But who are we really angry at? You know what I'm saying? And I think Alexis's anger is at herself and is projected at the world because why don't people like me? Why do people misunderstand my intentions? Stop. Maybe you need to hear what they're saying. Maybe you need to understand, okay, maybe there's a little bit of what they're saying. They might not be all right, but maybe there is some truth. So stop before you want to fight and be defensive and defend yourself, but hear a little bit of what people have to say. And I think that's where some of us are giving her a little bit of grace. It's like people are not, the average person doesn't wake up and just say, oh, I want to fight everybody on a whole stage and waste my time for this little bit of money that I'm getting paid and act a pure fool. No, there is other things behind it. So we're trying to piece together, what is that? Like, what could make her go tick, tick, boom like that? So, and I think that's the case where some of us, we just want to pick at something. Oh, you don't like, oh, the reason you're defending her is because she's light skinned. That's old. That's easy. You can go to that. But that's not the case. Because if you really look at the hard cold facts in this instance, everybody couldn't stand Alexis. And some people had good reasons for it. So I just think we gotta think bigger. Everything's not always the easy go-to thing. Sometimes it's a little below the surface.
With Alexis, she was playing checkers and not really playing chess. Because now all we're looking at is her behavior, her volume, her tick tick boom, and we don't know her argument of why LaRon was a snake throughout the entire process. We have not heard that yet. We haven't seen all of it through the process, because that's what I was waiting on. It's like, okay, you're saying he was the snake. Explain it. And now we can't hear anything. We're not going to hear anything. She's going to, you know, drive off and feel misunderstood and unheard. But it's like, wait a minute, we're hearing how loud you are. We're not hearing why you feel this way. And because it gives me a sense of, you're feeling so much, it's like a tidal wave of feelings, and you just can't get it out, and you just can't tell the rest of us. And you're like, wait a minute, understand me, understand, this is what's happening. But we're not able to hear and digest it because you're so caught up in your anger or what you're feeling that you're not verbalizing.
Can y'all hear me? How's my sound? You can hear me?
You're good.
Okay. Yeah, Elsid, I honestly believe that if she would have been able to speak, we probably would have found out more dark arts that LaRon was doing behind the scenes to kind of make her look like a worse person than maybe what she is. I'm pretty sure that LaRon was doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes that was really antagonizing her and making the situation worse. I think the problem is that when you're not a girl's girl and you isolate yourself from women, you kind of don't have any backing when trying to go against the LaRons and whoever else was kind of frustrating her. And I think that's also the lesson there. It's like nobody was able to even stick up for you or try to be there for you because you isolated yourself from the women. Because how much you want to bet LaRon has some bull crap going on? You know he did. So hopefully she learns that going forward. You can't isolate yourself from your community because you're going to be standing alone.
I'll say this before we get up out of here, and I'll let you guys have your final thoughts. When you have a platform like this, before you decide you want to fall from grace, take advantage. Take advantage, like Elsa said, and to state your side of the story before your emotions get too caught up. Just stay cool in it. Like, I know sometimes we just be on 10 that people done tried us. People done did a lot of things. And sometimes it's really hard. I'd struggle with it sometimes. And I've been getting better. But sometimes I just have to talk myself off the ledge in the moment and just be in a space of saying, I need my side of the story told by me and not somebody else. Because if I get enraged, I leave the scene, I do what they want me to do, what they predict I'm going to do. I feed into their story and their narrative, and it's not the truth of my experience. And I need to share my experience, regardless if my experience is not theirs or what their truth is or whatever. My experience needs to be told. So going forth, if this is you, and I, like I said, I'm guilty of sometimes having these emotions too, where I have to talk myself off the ledge. Just take that moment, take a breath, sit back. If right there is just not the space that you can really rationally do it, just stay quiet until you can really get into that space. Find your pocket. Sometimes you just got to wait for your pocket to show up and then just slide in there and just be like, let's talk about that part right there. Let's address that part. Because sometimes everything is flooding at us at once and we just got to get it out. We got to get it out. And when everything is flooding at us at once, all our emotions become on high. And then we start popping off on everybody. So sometimes you just got to sit still, maybe even say a prayer to yourself in that moment. Just ask for God to help you get through this moment. Let me just say, these people really trusting me right now, God. You see it's going through. Just help me be patient right now with these people so I can get my point across and say what I got to say. So that my story is out there. And if you want to argue with that, that's fine. You can do that. But you will not be telling my story for me. And unfortunately for her, now other people get to tell her story. LaRon gets to hide behind her story. Mika gets to hide behind that story. Koshia gets to hide behind that. Everybody that has wronged her gets to hide behind her rage and say, see, this is what we've been talking about. Y'all didn't see this all season long, but this is what we've been talking about. And it makes it hard space for her now to go and defend herself later on, because now everybody's in the comments just wants vengeance for how she behaved. So if this is you, and I'm saying if, because I don't know if she's going to come back during the next episode to try to have her peace or whatever. But if she doesn't come back and you find this is you at some point in time, just take a beat. And just remember that, you know, you still have your story to tell. You need to be the one to tell it. And just do the best that you can through it. And if you find yourself just getting too hyped up in the moment, just stop. Just put a pin in it. Just put a pin in it and come back to it when you can. And not everything need to be fleshed out in every moment. Sometimes some things could just sit and die on its own. But as a people, we got to do better at communicating with people about how we feel and what our problems is in a more adult, mature manner. You know, hey, we human, so we're going to have our little moments. I'm not going to fault y'all. Y'all have these little things, but as you go forward, you try to lessen those moments. That's all I can tell you. You try to lessen those moments as much as possible, and you try to not let them get this far. Because even Tequila, like Sean said, even Tequila had her coming to Jesus moment and was able to sit there and come back and be able to tell her story. And a lot of us started siding with Tequila a little bit, like, okay, now we see what you're talking about. We see Janelle being this type of way and all that. Even with Zadia, when she came on Kojo's platform, I know it was a tug and pull to get her on there, but we started seeing a little bit on her side, a little bit. She started fighting back again, and so we started going back and forth for seeing it. But but she, you know, she was winning over the people a little bit, and she pulled some people back to her side. So sometimes you just you got to stand in that fire. You put yourself there. You put yourself there now, Alexis. You put yourself in that fire. So now you got to just stand in it and breathe easy, sis. I'll let y'all get y'all final thoughts, because I didn't want this to be too much of a long live, because I know we're gonna be over at Kojo's in a second. So Sean, go ahead with your final thoughts on it, and then I'll get Elsie it.
Sure. I think, you know, first and foremost, you know, I think let's just give each other a little grace. Doesn't mean we have to endorse and co-sign wrong behavior, but you know, we can give each other a little grace. You know, a little bit, a little sprinkle of grace. Why not? You know, just like, you know, I know this is another round, and the drinks, every drink gets a garnish. Sometimes the garnish is salt, sometimes it's a lemon, sometimes it's a sweet fruit, sometimes it's a little something you drop in the ice. You know, Jay, help me out with the mixology. You know, sometimes you just
You
put a
doing
little.
good, my brother. You
Yeah, I'm
on
doing good. I'm doing good. Okay. You know, you get a little something on the drink, and it just makes it, you know, it's just, it doesn't take away from the flavor of the drink. It's just, you know, it's a little something to it, right? So let's just sprinkle grace just like we garnish our drinks, right? So that's all I'm saying. And last but not least, you know, we have to learn how to de-escalate. Please, people, you know, we're grown. Once you're 30 plus, you got to learn how to de-escalate. Sometimes it's going to be self-regulation, and sometimes as a friend, you going to help somebody else de-escalate, right? And learn how to do that for other people. Be there for other people. You see somebody blowing their top, do the things that are going to effectively help them to calm down and not escalate the situation.
Seaway? Last thought.
I would just kind of just reiterate what I just said. You know, your output is going to be your input, and what you're putting out there in this world is sometimes what you're going to get back. So if you want a village to be around you, you need to be putting out good energy, so you can kind of get that village to maybe calm you down. And then also just keep in mind, this stuff, if you're on TV or if you're out in the open or you do something at your job, this stuff really is going to have long lasting effects. So before you allow something or somebody to get you that upset, keep in mind that the highest consequence is going to be on you. And a lot of people like to use anger or outbursts as a way to hide their own mess. What we kind of saw, like, maybe with Koshia or Laron or whoever else. Oh, she wild and looks. We told you so. Don't give people the opportunity to hide their mess behind your outbursts, because that's what they're going to do. Try to stay cool, calm, and collected if you can. That's the best strategy.
Sid, go ahead and close us out with our last call.
Well, we all just want to be heard. We all just want someone or everyone, if we can, to hear and understand where we're coming from, what we're feeling. People can more relate and hear you if it is at a volume they can understand. You need to keep yourself as calm as possible so you can be as clear as possible and not be misunderstood, and your words cannot be twisted and misconstrued. So all I would say is many of us have had a bad day, a bad moment in public or private. And we would like everyone to see us beyond that moment of being ignited and not that be seen as our regular behavior. We would all like to be understood. So if we could take a moment, even in reading someone, to understand, then we can all learn from this outburst.
Indeed. I appreciate you three for joining me today on this, because you guys dropped some real gems out here tonight. Well, today we're a bit early, but yes, I appreciate you guys joining me on these rounds. We'll be back over on Little Black Book Channel in a little bit, about 2 to 3 hours tops. We should be back with the super panel for Ready to Love. We'll be over at LBB 91. Did I say that right? Because I'll be saying LBB 91, Little Black Book 91 channel later on. If you're not unfamiliar with this channel, all those that are familiar with this channel, you know where to meet us later on. Go ahead and hit that bell notification button and all that, so you don't miss the live tonight, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good one. We're going to get the tussle in the chat, because I know y'all going to be in there telling us about how we is not standing on 10 with some people, all right? Y'all know how y'all like to do it. I appreciate all 170 some, I think it was, plus that up in here today. I appreciate you all for being here for this good discussion that we had. It was very elevating conversation. Like I said, we're here to grow the community, and sometimes we got to tear a little bit apart to rebuild it back up. So, I don't want Alexis to think that we just totally tearing her down or whatever, or any other person on these platforms to think that we're tearing you down. We're picking apart pieces of that we see in everyday life and with people around us. So it's not just these people on the TV that are doing bad things. We are highlighting pieces of people that we see on a regular basis. And sometimes those people are us. And like I say, there's times I resonate with Alexis in some of these cases. And I also say, sis, we can do better, both of us. So with that said, let me give a couple little shout outs real quick, because I did get some new members today. Gigi, thank you very much, Ma. Gigi has been a long time member for me and stuff. I appreciate you, Ma. She's been riding with me thick and thin through Kojo's chat and everything. Gigi is my girl, child. We be going in, okay? And Cheeky Caramel, I appreciate you as well for becoming a new member. I hope you guys enjoyed here. Trust me, some perks and stuff are coming soon. So I appreciate you all for being here with us. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, y'all know what to do. Just go ahead and leave some comments and stuff so we can come back up here and address those too. All right. We love it. Okay. We love it. Love you all. And we'll see you guys later on. Happy Saturday to you all. Y'all have a good night. And again, y'all already know I said what I said. So with that said, Bye.